Okay, so you know how this works.
Yeah.
You give us the stuff to read,
Yeah.
and then
we dive in.
we do a deep dive.
Exactly.
Today it's all about
getting ahead.
moving up that
career
ladder and making more money.
Oh yeah, who doesn't love that?
Exactly. So we actually had a great conversation with Allison Woodbrooks.
Oh yeah, she's
professor at
Harvard Business School.
Harvard Business School.
It's funny.
HBS.
Yes, very good.
HBS.
And she has this YouTube video. It's something like the most important career advice
you'll
ever hear from Harvard Business School's #1 professor.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, but it's revealed.
It's really good.
It is.
And she's also the author of this book called Talk, The Science of Conversation and the Art of Being Ourselves.
So I think what's so cool is that what we're giving you today is basically like $100,000 course.
Oh, yeah.
At HBS for free.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And we're really focusing on the stuff that'll help you get ahead.
That's right.
Get that promotion, make more money, be recognized for all your amazing work.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of people think to get ahead, you have to be really tough.
Yeah, you got to be like a hard-nosed.
Yeah, kind of
negotiator.
Ruthless.
And what's interesting is Professor Woodbrooks found that that's not actually the case.
No, not at all.
So who is it that's really getting ahead?
It's the people who are actually great at
talking.
Yeah, communicate, like really good communicators. They build those strong relationships and they really try to understand the other person's point of view.
Yeah.
Like their needs, their priorities.
Makes sense. You're not just like going in there
bulldozing
and trying to get what you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about you. It's about understanding them too.
Yeah. And, I think sometimes we forget that being nice and, having like a good back and forth.
Yeah.
It's actually valuable. It's like its own form of value.
Yeah, it is.
When you make those interactions pleasant, people are just more likely to want to work with you.
Yeah.
And help you out.
To help you out.
Exactly.
So that brings us to what Professor Woodbrooks says is like the single biggest thing to get you ahead in your career.
And it's not about being like super powerful or like a master of the universe.
No.
Right? So what
she found is that the people who do really well in their careers are like
they're good talkers.
They're really good conversationalists.
Yeah.
And they're liked by their colleagues and they bring value, through those interactions, they make things more enjoyable.
Yeah. And she has a really interesting point.
Yeah.
Especially for like women and minorities.
Good.
Sometimes you work really hard, but no one really notices.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Because they're not really good at communicating what they've done.
Yeah. And, it's like she was saying with this podcast.
Yeah. This podcast is actually #1.
Wow.
But no one would know that unless we said it.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
you gotta...
You really have to like tell people.
Yeah, you gotta advocate for yourself.
You have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah, you can't just assume people know what you're doing.
Yeah, so tell everybody.
Tell them.
What you're doing.
Yeah.
So being a good communicator.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting promoted. It's also what makes a good leader.
It's true. HBS, Harvard Business School has done all this research on CEOs and really influential leaders. And what they found is that one of the most important skills is...
So I always thought it was like, having a big vision or,
Yeah, having a strategy.
Yeah.
Being tough.
Being tough.
Yeah. But
it's not.
It's not just that. It's about connecting with people, understanding them. And helping them get what they need.
So it's really about that conversation.
Yeah, it's like a superpower.
It is.
For success in so many different roles, not just at the top.
So let's talk about, those moments.
Yeah.
Where you really need to communicate well.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're asking for a raise.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Or when
we're going for a promotion?
Going for a promotion.
Yeah.
A lot of people think you need to have like this
perfect script,
right?
Yeah, and be super confident.
And be super
aggressive.
But Professor Woodbrooks says,
No.
That's not the way to go.
It's not about being persuasive. It's about having what she calls a learning mindset.
So what does that mean?
It means before you even think about asking for more money or that promotion, you got to figure out what your boss really cares about.
So you're doing your homework first.
Exactly.
You're not just like going in there
Right.
and being like, I deserve this.
Yeah, you got to understand their priorities, their needs, what makes them tick.
Yeah. And, she tells this great story about a restaurant manager who wanted a raise.
Oh, yeah.
And, the old advice would be just go look up what other restaurant managers are making.
Yeah, and just demand that much.
And just demand that much.
Right.
But that's not what she says.
No.
So what does she say?
She says you need to figure out what makes you so valuable to your boss.
Yeah.
What makes you irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Like, what do you bring to the table that no one else does?
So instead of being like,
Yeah.
I deserve this,
Yeah.
it's more like,
hey,
look what I can do.
yeah, look what I can do for you.
Yeah.
And how can we work together to make things even better?
Yeah, she even suggests like making a list of all the great things you've done.
Oh, yeah, like a log of your accomplishments.
And then going to your boss and being like, which of these do you think are the most important?
Yeah. And how can I do more of that?
Exactly. And she cautions against, just trying to be persuasive.
Yeah.
Without really understanding the other person's perspective.
Yeah, because that can backfire.
It can.
Yeah.
So it's all about,
It's all about understanding your value
yeah.
in the context of the organization.
But how do you figure out what your value is?
Well, you got to be proactive. You can't just assume you're entitled to more money or promotion just because the company is doing well.
Right.
You got to figure out what the organization really values.
And then do that.
Exactly.
So what kind of questions should you be asking your boss?
Oh, there's so many good ones you could ask. Like, what's one thing I could do to make your life easier?
I like that one.
Yeah. Or what would make me irreplaceable in this role?
Well, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Or what do you really value in terms of my contributions?
Yeah.
And you could even ask, are there things I'm doing that are a waste of time?
It's a bold one.
It is, but it can be really helpful
Yeah.
to get that feedback.
And what about, looking at the people
Oh, yeah.
who are already successful?
Yeah.
Is there a way to learn from them?
Absolutely. Professor Woodbrooks calls it productive social comparison.
What does that mean?
So instead of just being jealous of the high performers,
Right.
you try to figure out what they're doing differently. Like, what are their strategies? What are their behaviors? And then you try to emulate them.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
She also talks about this thing called mirroring.
Mirroring.
Yeah.
So like looking in a mirror.
Not exactly. It's more like observing the people who are really successful
Uh-huh.
and kind of mirroring their communication style, their behaviors, their way of interacting with others.
Oh, like if they're really good listeners,
Yeah,
you try to be a good listener.
exactly.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's all about learning from the best.
Okay. Let's talk about networking.
Ugh,
Yeah. I know a lot of people.
it's so awkward.
It's so awkward. You go into a room full of strangers.
And you're like, what do I even say?
Yeah, and everyone's trying to like impress each other.
Yeah, it's like, who has the best elevator pitch?
Right.
But Professor Woodbrooks says that's not what it's about.
So it's not about like dazzling people.
No.
Okay, so what is it about?
It's about building relationships. Real, genuine relationships. Just like we were talking about before, it's about understanding the other person.
So like actually caring about what they have to say.
Exactly.
So you're not just like waiting for your turn to talk.
No, you're actually listening.
So how do you do that?
Well, she recommends doing a little bit of research before you go to a networking event.
Oh, like on LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look up the people you might meet, see what they're working on, what their interests are,
Okay. And then
think about how you can add value to them.
yeah, like what can you offer?
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe you can share an interesting article or connect them with someone in your network.
Yeah, that makes it a lot less awkward.
It's
Just like
Yeah.
trying to sell yourself.
Exactly. It's not about
Yeah.
selling yourself. It's about building a connection.
Okay. That's good advice.
And she also says that it's really important to have those face-to-face interactions.
Oh, so
Yeah.
like not just online.
Not just online, especially at the beginning. Like, go for coffee, have a phone call, something more personal.
Okay.
And
Wow.
when you're talking to them, just be genuinely curious.
Yeah.
Ask them about their work, their challenges, their successes, what they love about their job, what they hate about their job.
So you're learning from them.
Exactly. And by asking questions, you naturally open the door for them to ask about you.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And don't forget the follow-up.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it was just a short interaction, send a quick email or text message thanking them for their time
Yeah.
and mentioning something specific you talked about.
Okay. So let's talk about
Okay.
job interviews.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
The dreaded interview.
The dreaded interview. And, that question to tell me about yourself. It's so broad.
It is.
It's like, where do I even begin?
Yeah, and it can be so nerve-wracking.
But Professor Woodbrooks has a really simple framework for answering that question.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So she says you should talk about 2 things from your professional experience
Oh.
and then 2 things from your personal life.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
So why does that work?
Well, it shows that you're prepared.
Yeah.
And it gives the interviewer a really clear structure to follow.
Yeah.
And for the interviewee, it can help calm your nerves.
It's like you have a plan.
Exactly.
So it's not so scary.
No.
Okay. So let's talk about those nerves.
Oh, yeah.
Before a big interview or presentation.
Yeah, your heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty. It's
Yeah.
the worst.
So Professor Woodbrooks actually has done a lot of research on this.
She has.
And she says that feeling anxious before something important,
Yeah.
it actually means you care.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says that anxiety comes from uncertainty and feeling like you don't have control.
Which is like every job interview.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead of trying to calm down,
Which is so hard to do.
yeah.
She says you should actually reframe those nerves as excitement.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, like, instead of thinking, I'm so nervous, I may mess this up,
Yeah.
you think, I'm so excited for this opportunity.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to show them what I can do.
Exactly. Because physiologically, anxiety and excitement are very similar.
Oh, so your body is like doing the same thing.
Yeah, your heart is racing, your cortisol levels are up, but it's how you interpret those feelings.
That makes a difference.
Yeah.
Oh.
So instead of focusing on the negative, what could go wrong, you focus on the positive, what could go right.
I like that. So even just saying I'm excited
Yeah,
can actually change how you feel.
it can.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it can also change how others perceive you.
Yes.
Like if you come across as excited, people are going to be more drawn to you.
You can be more interested.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So even if you're feeling those butterflies,
Yeah.
you can just tell yourself, I'm excited.
Exactly.
And it'll actually help you perform better.
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So at the end of an interview,
Yeah.
how do you wrap things up?
Well, Professor Woodbrooks says no matter how you think it went,
Yeah.
always express your gratitude.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, thank the interviewers for their time, for the opportunity to learn more about the role.
Yeah.
It just leaves a really positive impression.
So as we're wrapping up,
Yeah.
what's the biggest takeaway?
Well, I think the most important thing is to shift your focus from trying to be perfect
Yeah.
to building genuine connections.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the needs of the people you're interacting with and trying to help them.
So it's not about me, me, me.
No, it's about them.
It's about them.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. And, it's like she says, every conversation is like a little light bulb.
Oh, yeah, that's a great metaphor.
Yeah.
Your goal is to make each conversation a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
Even if some of those light bulbs don't light up, you
Oh,
just keep going.
Keep going. Keep trying to connect.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that. So what's something our listeners can do
Yeah.
this week to try this out?
Well, I would say think about one person in your professional life
Uh-huh.
and ask yourself, what is one thing I could do or one question I could ask them this week to better understand their needs and how I can help them be successful?
That's a great challenge.
Yeah,
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
it was my pleasure.
Yeah. And thank you to our listeners
Yeah, thanks for listening.
for being ambitious and wanting to grow in your careers.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.